So if you're still on the fence about university and you're not sure what course to do, maybe you're in a position you're thinking you aren't going to get the grades to potentially go onto the course that you want, or you're not sure what is a good undergraduate to pursue. In this video, what I'm going to cover is just some general examples of undergraduate courses which are really highly employable, very versatile, and that can lead into various different professions, but not just linking you to different professions, but can really build on those key transferable skills that you can then use to effectively grow and develop yourself and to find wider opportunities in postgraduate study, whether it be master's or PhD, or just generally to go into work. So first of all, if you're not sure that you're going to get the grades that you're looking for, or you're thinking that you haven't got all the qualifications that you need to get onto that course that you want, there's a lot of courses that are now available, more so than when I started, which are access qualifications. Now, an access qualification is an A-level equivalent. It's a level 3 qualification. Not all universities will accept access quals, but what they do is you'll do a generalized access qualification, whether that be in a science, in business, it might be in English or a vocational subject. And effectively what that does is that gives you a rounded general overview for a year's worth of solid work. So you take that year's worth of experience and then you can apply that to your UCAS application and your university applications processes the following year with that additional year's worth of qualification. It's the equivalent of an A-level. It's if you're applying for a job, but generally speaking, it's used to get you into that university course that you're looking for, and a lot of universities themselves run access qualifications. So that's generally also coined by most universities as a year zero, and it's something that if you're interested in that university or a particular subject at that institution, do also look at their website, see if they offer an access qualification, and have that conversation with them. You can also get student funding, student loan funding or the equivalent via an adult learner loan, which will effectively top you up. But it is a college equivalent course, and it's treated slightly different than your traditional student loan situation or student loan debt, so it's not treated quite the same. The other area that I want to go over is your undergraduate. Now, a lot of students that I've taught before have done what I would class as a very specific undergraduate qualification. I myself did animal behaviour and welfare, and that is a very specific course. It looks at a very particular element of science and covers that in very good detail, but it's still very specific. There are more specific qualifications such as veterinary physiotherapy that is even more niche than my particular course, or if you are going into zoology and so on, which again can be very specialised to a particular area. But if you're looking at an undergraduate course and you're not quite sure what you want to do, my advice to anyone watching this video is really to keep your thought process or keep your application as generalized as possible. If you know that you're interested in biology, then pursue a biological science, so bioscience or biochemistry if you've got a chemistry leaning. If you're applying for a business school or legal school, apply to keep those qualifications generalized at an undergraduate level, because generally speaking, for undergraduates, that's about teaching you academic experiences, building those core professional skills that people want in academics, teaching you research skills, data analytics. There are elements of crossover, and keeping your subjects as modules as varied as possible gives you that core rounding, that general overview of what it is to be a university student, and it makes you more versatile when applying for master's degrees. If you are very clear about what you want to do and you want to pursue that very particular topic, by all means still do it. I did my animal behaviour qualification and then broadened my degree choice when I got to master's level, and I went with a more generalised business master's degree and went with project management. And then as further built on that with my PhD looking into education. So there is the flexibility within degrees to either go more narrowed or go broader in your different stages of your academic journey. But what I would particularly want to point out to you if you're thinking of this is you should still follow your passion. If you know what you want to do, for example, I know far more about the animal industry or conservation sectors, but if you're wanting to go into those particular industries like agriculture, ecology and so on, and you know you want to go into those subjects, going for the more generalized undergraduate such as core agriculture, core ecology, environmental science, those degrees are more open than necessarily going to an agriculture with a business leaning. What you've got to think is when you're applying for a job, how transferable are those skills? If you're applying for a farming job and you have agriculture with business or general agriculture, you are still going to be able to sell that experience, sell your knowledge to that employer and get that experience and get that through to that interview stage. It will come down to your experience and how you've built and developed those qualifications. Now, if you're someone who is not quite sure what they want to do and you're thinking of what are more employable topics outside of more traditional career paths, so law, medicine, and in the same case, if you're looking at the veterinary sector where you have very clear career trajectories and career identities, you want to think what are generally well-practiced subjects that can be well applied to multiple disciplines. And the one that always stands out to a lot of people is history. History teaches you such a breadth of analysis and research acumen that you can really extend that qualification to a plethora of different roles. And you learn so many core academic skills that it's very easy to apply what you learn from a history undergrad to other programs, rather than, say, going to what is arguably a very generic course and going to more of a generalized business degree, thinking that business applies to everything, because it does, but there are skills that you can learn from other undergraduates, and it's really more about getting those core modular skills that you pick up from undergrads in history. And another one that will come to mind is more the data analysis that comes with things such as computer science, which again can be very much applied to virtually every discipline that you can work with. Now, don't get me wrong, there are some degrees that would not be looked at by recruiters. If you're applying for an agricultural company and your background's in history, you would still have to explain your professional experience, and it's that experience and the academic knowledge that is going to be essential, and they are really just as equally relevant, if not experience doubling as more relevant and more beneficial to your long-term job prospects than what your academic qualifications are in terms of that application. That is how you really show to that industry that you are involved in that industry, the skills that you've developed and taken from your academics to an applied version. But do your own research and do look at different opportunities that are available for you. In terms of if you're now thinking, okay, so what is where am I at with an application perspective? If you're thinking, okay, I now want to go to university, you still have you can still apply late. Universities will still accept late applicants, but what they're effectively looking at with late applicants is they don't have to give you a guaranteed, put you on the guaranteed footing the same as every other student that's applied. They can look at your application after they've looked at all the other students. They'll still keep you to the grade boundaries that they're looking at, but think how can they apply you. So long as you're getting those core qualifications and you can make a convincing application and importantly that you've contacted the university to see if they've got any vacancies before you send that application in. If when it comes to summer, and this might be where some of you find this video after you've applied for university and you haven't got into the university of your choice, or you haven't got your options haven't come back to you as you want, or you want to change the discipline that you're interested in. You can apply to different universities via clearing, and you can apply to that university via different courses, and those are universities with open vacancies for that course program. Equally, if you're in a position where you want to go to university, you've applied, you've sent those applications in, but you're not 100% sure if you want to start that university course in September, you can also always defer it. So long as you speak to that university about deferring the placement, you can speak to them up to the point of just before you start. You would have to have that conversation with them, and I would advise to do that after you've got your results and speak to them directly. That's your best way of carrying out that conversation. Equally, that can be for any reason. They may ask you why you're thinking of deferring, and be honest with them. Most of the academics will listen. They do want to hear the different reasons the different students come up with, and just have that open and frank conversation with them. They are, at the end of the day, there to support you on your academic journey, and they want to see the most successful students come and join their institution. And if you need to do that the following year, they'll want to see you that following year. And if there's any other questions, folks, by all means, please do get in touch. And equally, always do your own research and look at what other options are there for you. And thank you very much for listening.